Science Clinic platform. We are the basis. Welcome to the Science Clinic platform. It's VJ Sharp taking you 360 degrees into space. We are going to look at the solar system. Starting from the galaxy, the sun started 4.5 billion years ago, and in the galaxy, it is at a point called the Orion Spur. We are looking at the solar system. Let us focus on the sun. It was formed when clouds of dust and gas, known as the nebula, collapsed and led into the formation of the sun. Getting close to the sun, we can observe its surface, its fiery nature, in conjunction with the gravitational pull, not forgetting its magnetic field, all constitute to its strength in the solar system. Yes, let me open the sun for you such that we learn some things. I've opened the sun. It is having 6 layers. Let us try to look at these layers. It is having a corona layer. It is having a chromosphere layer, and it is having a photosphere layer. It is also having a convective zone, a radioactive zone, not forgetting the core. Trying to get further into the atom count of the sun, it is clearly seen that 91% is made of hydrogen. That means that the other percentage, which is 8.9%, is made of helium, and not only that, 0.1% are made of heavier elements such as iron and others. Our sun produces energy under a process called nuclear fission, where those red hydrogen particles combine into what we call helium particles, releasing energy in the form of heat and light. The sun is the largest, most massive object in the solar system, and if we compare it with the Earth, the sun is 100 times the Earth is wide. Going further, if we try to fit all the 8 planets into the sun, we shall do that as many times as we can, approximately 600 times before we fill the sun, meaning the sun is very massive. Therefore, the sun makes up 99.8% of the total mass in the solar system, and the other planets makes up 0.2% of the total mass. That is what I've been talking about. The sun contributes a very high gravitational pull towards all other planets, and it is like now creating a mat on which everything is going to be rotating, making itself a center of rotation. Let us now have a earlier view of what we are talking about. The sun's gravitation makes the 8 planets, dozens of dwarf planets, 170 moons, and more so the comets and the asteroids to be in place. And in case we lose the sun, just like you're seeing how it is breaking, in case we lose it, everything will go its own way. You're still with VJ Sharp, Science Clinic platform. About 6.5 billion years, the sun will run out of hydrogen, and what will happen is the sun will die, implying the sun dying, everything will be lost, and the sun will collapse into what we call the white dwarf. and everything will now go its own way. We are still continuing with the sun's effect and the gravitational pull. Science Clinic platform. Looking at the solar system, there is the sun and all the planets which are orbiting it, together with the comets and asteroids. The 8 planets, which include Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are all characterized into 2 categories, which are we having the terrestrial planets, the Jovian planets, which are in the solar system. Now, looking at the terrestrial planets, we are having Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. They are just 4 planets. Characteristics: they are made of rocky materials, the one we are stepping at. The surfaces are solid. They do not have rings, and there are very few moons, just like you see our Earth, and they are relatively small. They are not that big. Away from the terrestrial planets, we go to the Jovian planets of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Those are the Jovian planets. If you try to look at them closely, they are also characterized into gas giants, which are Jupiter and Saturn, and also the ice giants, which is Uranus and Neptune. Going further into the gas giants, they are predominantly helium and hydrogen. While the ice giants contain rock, ice, and a mixture of water, methane, and ammonia. Yes, we are still continuing. Now let us look at the gas giants. They have multiple moons, just like Jupiter. They have support rings, like Saturn, no solid surface, and are big in size. Studying one by one, we start with Jupiter. It's the largest planet in the solar system. You can see Jupiter just after the asteroid belt. Jupiter is the 5th planet. Another ice giant, Saturn, is the 2nd largest planet in the solar system. There, it is also having a ring system. And this ring system is covering a significant distance if we compare it with any moon to the Earth. It is made up of asteroids. It is made up of rocks, ice, and other materials. Going further from Saturn, let us now look at the ice giants such as Uranus and Neptune. Looking at Uranus, Uranus is the 7th planet from the Sun and the 3rd largest, and has a characteristic of rotating on its side. Away from Uranus, we look at Neptune. Neptune is the 8th planet in the solar system, and it is the outermost planet from the Sun, closely 4.5 billion kilometers, roughly 2.8 billion miles from the Sun. More so, we have thousands of small pieces of rocks similar to those found in the planets that orbit the Sun, mostly between Mars and Jupiter in the asteroid belt known as asteroids. Baletedde banno aba Hikma Phone Services and Electronics wali ekalere ku NG Complex beba kafulu mu kukanika amasimu nga bakozesa ebyuma eby'omulembe, bakozesa gadgets ez'omulembe okukanika essimu yo bweba efunye ekizibu kyonna. Batunda amasimu gonna, batunda solar panels ez'omulembe era nga bakuleka oyaka kubanga bo bennyini ate bagikuteerayo. Bakola solar panel installation. Batunda ebyuma by'amasannyalaze ebyenjawulo, oyagala ufa, electric wires, oyagala bulb, oyagala antenna, oyagala fan, percolator, heaters, oven. Batunda phone accessories ez'ebika byonna, oyagala earphones zifaanana zitya, oyagala charger, headset, flash discs, byonna babirina. Aba Hikma Phone Services and Electronics wali ekalerwe ku NG Building Complex wojja okubasanga. Boka abagenda okuguza flat screen ennungi ate nga ya buwangazi. Eno TV bagikugira mu box ng'ate eriko ne guarantee in case efunyemu obuzibu osobola okujja n'otunnyonnyola ne tulaba ekyokukukolera customer waffe. Togenda mu baffere nkugambye ekifo kiri kimu mu ba Hikma Phone Services and Electronics. Away from the sun, we meet the first planet, Mercury. Looking at Mercury, it is the smallest planet in the solar system and one of the few planets that you can see on Earth using nothing but your own eyes. Mercury. There, you can see it on Earth using your own eyes during night, or if you are having very sharp eyes. Looking at Mercury closely, it has a rocky surface like that of Moon, and Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun and the smallest in the system. And it takes 89.97 Earth days for Mercury to orbit the Sun. More so, it has a very thin atmosphere if you closely look at it. In order to look at it, you can't fail to recognize the beauty. Venus. Venus is the second planet if you're counting from the Sun. Let us now look closely to Venus. If you compare it with our Earth, they are approximately equal, but Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system and its atmosphere is mostly composed of carbon dioxide. It has temperatures of about 460 degrees Celsius, meaning it is very hot, and has no natural satellites orbiting it, meaning zero moon. And also it is the brightest body in the sky after the moon and the sun, implying that Venus is very bright and we can see it on Earth using our own eyes, not any other instrument. Venus is there. You can observe it using your own eyes. Still continuing with the Science Clinic platform, VJ Sharp. Looking at the third planet, Earth. Diving deep into Earth, Earth is the planet where we live, meaning it supports life because it's not hot and not too cold. Earth has sufficient atmosphere, and the rocky surface also helps in the growth of plants and also helps in other lives. The presence of oxygen and carbon dioxide can never be forgotten in this discussion because it is a vital part. Also, the presence of a lot of water on Earth is also another factor. Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun and the second smallest planet after Mercury. One day on Mars is 246 hours on Earth, while a year at Mars is 669.6 Earth days. Not forgetting that scientists believe that apart from Earth, we can only live at Mars. More so, we went further to now taking our robots on Mars. We are having 2 robots there, just like you can see. They are now trying to check the surface of Mars and sending us feedback to see. Mars has 2 types of moons which are orbiting it, which are namely as Phobos and Deimos. These 2 moons are not circular. They have an irregular shape and they are orbiting it. It is believed that these 2 moons might have escaped from the asteroid belt since they are not circular and they are just like asteroids. They are just like rocks. Going to the next planet, Jupiter. It is the largest planet and a gas giant. Jupiter is really big and made up of gas. Jupiter is the biggest and it is really big, approximately 11 Earths. Jupiter is the third bright object in the sky and can be seen from the Earth's surface. Just looking at the sky, you can observe Jupiter either at night or in the evening hours. Not forgetting that Jupiter is orbited by many satellites, in fact, natural satellites. Jupiter, if you try to compare Jupiter with any other planet in the solar system, you can realize that Jupiter is really big, and you cannot compare it with any other planet in the system. It is the fifth planet from the Sun and the most largest in the planets, implying that one day on Jupiter is 9.9 Earth days, and also a year at Jupiter is approximately 12 years on Earth. Given the fact that we have said Jupiter is made up of gas, it's not easy to navigate through it because it has dangerous storms. Next planet is Saturn. It's another gas giant, and Saturn, if you try to look at it from a distance, it has very beautiful rings. Saturn, the rings are made up of asteroids, which are ice particles, rocks, iron, and dust. There you can see the rings are made up of asteroids. We say that Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun and the second largest. It's also a gas giant, and it is composed of ice particles and dust. Not forgetting that Saturn has more than 50 natural satellites. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun. It's an ice giant. Uranus has a blue-green color, which is due to presence of methane in its atmosphere, and it has 27 natural satellites which are orbiting it. Uranus is the seventh planet. Moving further, we go to Neptune. Its bluish color is due to the atmospheric methane, which absorbs the red light from the sun and other refracting objects in the system, meaning that since it is the eighth planet, is the farthest from the sun, approximately 4.5 million kilometers from the sun, and a year at Neptune implies 165 earthly years. We have agreed that its bluish color is due to the presence of atmospheric methane, and more so it is the eighth planet, implying it is the farthest planet from the sun, approximately 4.5 billion miles from the sun. Next object in the system is Pluto. Pluto, looking at it, it was discovered in 1930s, and if you get Pluto, try to compare it with any other planet in the system, you will actually realize that Pluto is very small compared to any other planet in the system, including Mercury. That means that Pluto is now considered as a dwarf planet. But not a planet. That's why we are having only 8 planets but not 9. Now let's look at dwarf planets. Is something which looks like a planet but much smaller compared to a planet, such as Eris, Sedna, Haumea, Pluto, and others, leaving us with Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune as the only planets in the solar system, just like you can see there.